Hello kids, how you doing? Everyone doing all right? What's going on? Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. How you all doing? You all right? So let's get into all of this madness with former Prince Andrew, eh? Hopefully this is going to lead to more arrests. I hope so. How you doing, Rex? How you doing, Species? I'll tell you something, fellas. It's a little bit nippy in here today. I've got a jumper and everything on, but I'm still a little bit, you know? The weather's a little bit cold. I've even got 2 pairs of socks on, can you believe it? Because I'm still a little bit nippy. And the heating is on. But it's just never enough. I hope that you're all doing well. I'm so glad I got this new mic arm, Brex. It's amazing. So much better. So much better. Right, so let's get my headphones in and we'll get straight into it. We've got a video coming up as well at 4 p.m. or 4:30 today, going into exposing a little bit about Sadiq Khan and some of his tricky past and some of the things he's done in the video in 2020. That's coming up at 4:30 today. But for now, we're going to get straight into all of the madness that's been going crazy online because of Andrew, or former Prince Andrew, being arrested, rightfully so, for his involvement with the stuff with Epstein. So let's just get everything queued up. And if you've got anything that you want us to send, if there's anything you want to send in and us to show on air, by all means, you've just got to send it into here or on my... I keep sweating in the new chair I got for Christmas. Oh, that's nice, Species. Thanks for that. Little too much information, but thanks a lot. Thank you, I think. I appreciate your honesty. So let's just get to the news first and then we'll go through everything, right?
During the day, the police will decide if they have enough evidence. If they do, they'll approach the Crown Prosecution Service for a charging decision. My feeling is that's not going to happen today. I think that given the nature of this allegation and the amount of inquiries they need to carry out and the fact that searches are being undertaken, that what will happen is that he will be bailed, or
he is Rex, I agree,
he'll
mate.
be released under further investigation to give the police more time to examine the material and then also to engage with the prosecutors about whether or not they have sufficient evidence in order to charge him with any offence.
He should be jailed.
Nazir,
throw away
can
the
I
key.
ask you very quickly, because I'm running out of time, very quickly, how are you surprised by the speed at which this has all happened, from when we were talking about emails and time as trade envoy to this arrest?
I mean, I wouldn't call this fast with you guys. This has been going on for 20 years.
I'm surprised, but actually I'm quite saddened. I'll tell you why I'm saddened, Miriam. Because when the state is the alleged victim, the state moves at pace. When women are the alleged victims, the state has been taking its time.
Fair play to him.
I've been talking about the other allegations for the last decade or so, and nothing has happened seemingly in relation to those. But here, within days of allegations that involve the state has moved at real pace.
OK, Nazir Afzal, former Chief Crown Prosecutor for North West England, thank you very much for joining us. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the King has just left the opening of London Fashion Week. It was a public engagement that was in the diary and he stuck to it. We had cameras there for the moment that he arrived. He was asked questions from the waiting media about Andrew. He ignored them. Have a listen.
What's your reaction to your brother's arrest, sir? Sir, what's your reaction to your brother's arrest?
Completely ignoring it. Crazy, isn't it?
Well, let's cross live now and speak to Ailsa Anderson, a former press secretary to Queen Elizabeth II between 2001 and 2013. Ailsa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on BBC News. And let me ask...
I think we all know that he's not going to go to jail. It's of who he is. He's not going to jail.
First of all, if I can,
he should do.
For your reaction to the news today.
Oh, I was absolutely astounded, shocked and stunned. What a catastrophic end to such a glittering life of privilege and duty. Who could have predicted this when this story broke in 2010? Here we are 16 years down the line, which has ended in the most shocking way. I didn't foresee it.
What do you think the way forward is now for the royal family, for the King?
I think the only tip he's going to get is from Big Boris when he goes in the showers, mate. I think that's the only tip he's going to be feeling. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think he's going to get the kind of tips he's used to doing. Let's head over to another station
Our
and
next
see what
guest
they're
has a
saying.
long history with the royal family.
This
Piers
is
Morgan
Fox
has met
in,
Andrew,
USA. I wanna
knows
see
his
what they're
ex-wife
saying.
Fergie, and their daughter as well. He joins us now on the phone. Hey, Piers, did you ever think it would come to this?
Do you know, I was beginning to fear it might, but when it actually happens, it is an absolute bombshell. I mean, to put this into context, there has been no member of the royal family arrested in my lifetime. I'm 60 years old. If you have to go back centuries to the last...
Which is kind of mad because Prince Philip should have been done, really, because he was an old racist. I mean, I love the royal family, but, you know, I'm a patriot as much as everyone else, but Prince Philip was a wrong one, weren't he?
Time that a member of the British royal family was arrested. And this is a serious matter. If he is convicted of misconduct in public office, then the vast majority of people that receive that kind of conviction end up with a prison sentence, and the maximum sentence is life imprisonment. And this is the king's brother who remains eighth in line to the throne. So
Yeah,
this
going
is,
for it.
like I say, an
It's not going to happen, is it?
Not completely
If he goes to jail, it'll be
surprising.
on the tip of a... Gavin, they don't do... That's true. That's
Because
true.
I think the tone of the King's statement last week clearly opened the door for the police to make a move.
So Piers, just to be clear for us that don't understand, even though his royal titles were taken away, even though he was kicked out of the palace and all the estate, he's not receiving a salary from the government, from the people anymore, he still remains in the line of succession?
Yeah, I know it sounds preposterous, but that is the current state of play.
I'll tell you one thing that's good about this, even if nothing comes of this, which I don't think it will because of who he is. One thing that's good from this is it shows Americans, no disrespect to the Americans, but if the British are willing to publicly arrest and humiliate someone who's in the royal family, which is rightfully so because he's done wrong, what the hell's going on with the Epstein files over there? Because there's still been no arrests. Maybe this is a good thing. I mean, it is a good thing because he's a bad person, but I mean, maybe it's a good thing that it's happening now because we all want justice for those victims of the Epstein files. Maybe this will give him a kick up the arse over there.
Now, I think it's very fanciful that he would ever accede to the throne under any circumstances, and I think increasingly that is going to be ruled out anyway by the sequence of events. But I think it's important to clarify here that the arrest is not in connection with anything to do with the sex scandal involving Epstein.
Really? So it's nothing to do with that?
This is very specifically about his behaviour when he was a trade envoy, which is a government appointment. He was acting on behalf of the country.
So Piers is playing the nice card, so you know what that means, don't you? That means so it doesn't go down bad for the royal family. They're going to try and do like they did with Al Capone. We're not going to get him for the crimes he actually done. It was getting for fraud in the books and stuff. They're going to try and do the same with him. So he's going to get done probably, but he's going to get done for something non-related to the thing that was probably the worst thing that he done. So it's like, well, we don't need to put that on the books because that's really bloody shady. And I'm saying that as an Englishman. That's disgusting.
For about a decade, in which he travelled around the world as a kind of business envoy for the country. And during that period, we now know from leaks from the Epstein files, he was giving Epstein, and remember, a convicted pedophile, he was giving him the information.
I'm with you, Rex, and Species. I'm with you, boys.
Information as a trade envoy. I mean, this is treacherous, treasonous behaviour by a man who is the brother of the king of this country now. So these are very serious allegations. And of course, once there's a police investigation, they've been raiding all of
And the thing that makes it rather snaky as well is someone like Piers Morgan in his position knows everything. He knows everything. This isn't a surprise. Piers has known this for years. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in that position, you know this stuff. So he's never spoken about it because legal reasons. That's what's so it's just nonsense.
Now they'll be taking all his devices, everything they can find that may relate to this. But that might also, of course, uncover more information, more evidence about the other incredibly serious allegations against Andrew, which is that he, of course, committed sex crimes involving Virginia Giuffre and possibly others.
You know, you're saying he's charged with misconduct in public office. You're saying that carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. I mean, what kind of...
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to get done for what we want him to get done for. He'll get done for something non-related, you know?
Top secret info or is he sharing with Jeffrey Epstein?
And again, if this is the case and he's going to get done for it, what's going to happen with Peter Mandelson? Because there's been no charges there. They've found out that Peter Mandelson was leaking information about the UK or documents. Why hasn't he been arrested? They had a raid on his house. He wasn't arrested, though. They know that he done wrong.
Epstein. And how serious is this? Why would he share secrets about the government with Jeffrey Epstein? This is a statement, Pierce, and I want to get your reaction from the King that we just read earlier, but now that we have you on, I've learned with the deepest concern and news about Andrew Batten Windsor, and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course.
Right.
As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. What do you make of that statement? He's calling his brother by his full name.
Right.
Yeah, it's just astounding. I mean, this is somebody who was Prince Andrew, who was the Queen.
More than anything, it's an embarrassment to the UK, isn't it? It's not just the fact of what he's done, but they're saying now that it's not going to be charges of stuff regarding the Epstein files. It's the whole thing's just an embarrassment to the country. The same way that a lot of Americans feel, I suppose, about how they're dealing with the Epstein files and Trump. Hello, Ben. How you doing, me old treacle? It's been a while. How you doing?
Queen's favoured son, it was reported constantly. And there are going to be very difficult questions for the Queen. You know, you've got to remember, the Queen stepped in and paid over $12 million, it is reported, to Virginia Giuffre to settle that case she brought against when he was then Prince Andrew. This is the King and Prince William and others, of course. They've all been around Buckingham Palace, for example, where there are now increasing pieces of evidence emerging of flights where young women have been flown in.
Yeah, so apparently what he's been arrested for, it says top criminal barrister breaks down Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's arrest. This is about data released to Epstein. It's not to do with actual assaults. That makes it even worse because it's kind of insinuating that there's a connection there, which we all know anyway, but he's not going to be done for what he should be done by. It's disgusting.
And brought to the palace. Who knew what, where, and when? You know, it's increasingly likely, I would say, that other senior members of the royal family are going to have to also be interviewed by the police. So this might just be the tipping point of a gigantic scandal, which represents, I would argue, an existential threat to the monarchy itself. It is that serious.
Wow, so Pierce,
Yeah, it is, but at the end of the day, we've always known that there's been some dodgy cats within the royal family.
let's talk about the government. We know about Ambassador Mandelson out. He's linked in the Epstein files. We know the chief of staff that recommended him to Starmer. He's out. He said, it was my fault. I recommended him, so I'll quit. Is Starmer going to stay in office, the prime minister? Is he basically hanging on by a thread?
Yeah, I think he's a political dead man walking. I mean, and it's all centered around what happened with Lord Mandelson. And the short version of that scandal is that Mandelson, who had twice previously lost government jobs, was brought back by Keir Starmer last year to become the UK ambassador to the United States. And it was revealed last week in the Prime Minister's Questions, the weekly public debate you see in the House of Commons between the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. Keir Starmer admitted that before he made that appointment, he had been told that Mandelson had maintained an ongoing friendship and relationship with.
I've just seen a picture and I don't know how real this is, but I think you need to see it. What about Fergie? Yeah, you're right, Seven. How you doing, Seven, mate? Is that big up and love to Paz49? This is just dropped on X. Is that, what's his name? That's Prince Andrew, ain't it? Ain't that what's her name? The one that's with Harry? Isn't that Meghan? Is this new or is this old? Because I don't really follow the stuff with Meghan. I'm not the biggest fan, I'll be honest with you. Let me just shut the, where are you? View, bookmarks, that can go. Yeah. Is that not Meghan? That is, ain't it? It does look like her, right? So is there something, the Duchess of Polk? I just saw that pic and it looks weird to me, so I'd like it to be public. Oh, right, okay, so yeah. That seems like a bit of a weird one, doesn't it? Oh, that would make it even funnier. Oh, he had an affair with her. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What's this one regarding London's grooming gangs? Right, I'll save that because I'm covering that later on. We've got a video out later on at 4:30 about the grooming gangs in London and a cover-up with Sadiq Khan and Keir Starmer, but we'll get to that at 4:30. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later on. Andrew has finally been arrested, says Mothin Ali. This is the guy from the Green Party. When ordinary women and girls are sexually exploited, the authorities are shy to act, but threaten the financial system or the pockets of the rich. The authorities... It's all well and good him saying all this, but he hasn't said anything about the grooming gangs within his own community. Isn't that ironic? He wouldn't dare, because we know what would happen to him if he spoke out about this kind of thing. The hand on the waist looks off. Oh, do you mean on that picture? Oh, I suppose so. Oh, yeah, it does actually. Yeah, because if he's got a suit jacket on, where's his jacket on? Good point out, Rachel. You should be a detective. Sherlock Rachel is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Fear not. She's here. Let's see. Oh, have you all seen this anyway? We've done a video about this yesterday. I put a video out last night about this. This is Layla Cunningham, who's running for the mayor of London for the Reform Party. And she's come out and labelled another party as neo-Nazis, which isn't a good look for her.
They're talking about, if you're not white and Christian in this country, you're not British. Right? They're going back to some kind of like neo-Nazi Aryan race. If you're not white, I mean, I've heard their spokesperson on Talk TV and on TV saying, if you are not white and Christian.
I'm a bit disappointed because I had a bit of a crush on her, to be honest. I thought she was a bit of all right. But for her to come out and label people like that, not a good look. Not a good look. Says the man living in Thailand. Who's he talking about? James Goddard is living in Thailand. We don't want integration and assimilation. We want you out. If you're not white, you're not British. It's really not that hard. Well, that guy's a bit of a twat then, isn't he? Sorry, James. That's a bit of a twat comment to say because that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. This is what it's about. This is what the movement is about in the UK. Yes, Ben, I agree with you. Reform are done. It says, today I finished my journey fighting for justice for the little girl I used to be. I'm also waiving my rights to that word, I always get it wrong. 11 years ago, I gave my first ever video interview about what happened to me in the Rotherham grooming gangs. It's been one long road, but I'm happy to say I've finally got justice. Really? The last 2 years I've been involved in 3 trials in Sheffield Crown Court, and today I finished my last trial and secured 125 years justice. About bloody time. Good for you, mate. I will be mentioning more about the last 2 trials over the coming days and what I've had to go through to get the justice I deserved. Today, Something Hussain was handed a 20-year jail sentence for the abuse he did when I was 13 years old. I stared him in the face as I read my own victim impact statement out. I'm so proud of what I've done. Well done, mate. And I've taken 7 seriously dangerous men off the streets. My only regret is that not being able to doing it sooner. Well, to you, Sarah. Do you ever see this, mate? Well bloody done, girl. I am your karma. That's what we like. Good girl. Good girl. Right, let's see what else we've got. Andrew, it says, Patriotic Nation says, question for the day. Do you still support the royal family? It doesn't look good for him, does it? How you doing, Mega Patriot? Keeping well? Yeah, it doesn't look good for him. What's this? Wes Streeting should stand down. What's he done now? Cold weather killed 2,500 last winter after Labour axed. Holy shit. I've been waiting for this. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are not in the UK, I'll just give you a quick recap. Keir Starmer's our Prime Minister, and when he was running to become Prime Minister, one of his main, I'd say, manifesto points was to protect the elderly. So he was on national TV over there. You have Biden, Trump, they have the debate and they're arguing and all of that. Well, Keir Starmer, one of his main points was to protect elderly, like our pensioners, retired, old people. And the moment that he got into number 10, your White House, basically our version, when he got into number 10, within 24 hours, he put a cut on winter fuel allowance. And what that was a donation of money for people to be able to afford their heating. People that are retired, pensioners and stuff like that, they got this winter allowance. He cut that day one. Now it's coming out saying 2,500 died last winter. I wouldn't accumulate it all to being because of those, but it's got to have had an impact on certain people that are in lower poverty areas. It must have done if you cannot afford heating. You know what I mean?
Things are
so anyway,
linked. The winter fuel allowance. You have done a report, as I understand it, that sits possibly on your desk, looking at the assessment in terms of the potential health impact of the changes your government has brought in. Why can the public and the media not see that report?
Surprise.
Well, there's no such report, and there's no such report on my desk.
So you have never, can I check that? So you brought in this policy, which is removing the winter fuel allowance from many, many people. I know some will keep it, but under the changes, many will not. You did not do an assessment to see whether that could impact harmfully on people's health.
The Chancellor will publish in the normal way the impact assessment for all of her fiscal decisions at the budget and the spending review.
The health impact.
That's normal. On health, Charlie, let me just say, because I think this point has been missing in
I've got to tell you something else about this absolute donkey afterwards, this absolute mule. I've got to tell you something after, because it's just laughable.
Recent days and weeks, even after the changes we've made to means test the winter fuel allowance, pensioners will be better off this winter. They'll be better off further still next winter, because we have chosen to keep the triple lock, make sure we've got the warm homes discount, and put targeted extra support in place, extending the hardship fund to help people this winter.
I'm mindful of not interrupting you. I know your time is limited. It is the case, then, that you did not do any kind of health assessment as to the potential risk to either life or well-being of elderly people of your decision to change the winter fuel allowance.
But pensioners will still be better off this winter after we've made the changes.
That's not what he asked you, mate. That's not what he asked you. He said, did you do a run to see if people are going to be safe? Are they going to be okay? No, we'll give them more money. That's not what he asked you.
Question. With greatest respect, there was no review. You didn't do a health review impact into that decision. That did not happen.
Because pensioners will still be better off this winter.
That's not what he asked you, you absolute cretin. So anyway, going to this fella, this is his former assistant, and you probably haven't even seen this in the news. I've shown it a couple of times, but because I'm doing my live streams more and more and more, I want people to see all of this. This fella here, this guy here was Wes Streeting, who you just saw. This is his former assistant, and last April he was arrested for exposing himself to children in Essex, in Romford to be precise. He was arrested for, I believe he was in his car and he got out, walked around, and there were schoolgirls there and he was exposing himself. And guess what? He didn't go to jail. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. This is the kind of bollocks that we've got going on in the United Kingdom. I know. You think to yourself, now you're making it up. No, I'm not. I'm really not. That's the kind of madness that we've got going on in this country. Right, let's just jump over. Let me move that out of the way. Yeah, this is the kind of madness that we've got going on in England. Right, let's jump on to the next one. It's never ending, ain't it? Never ending. Right, here we go. Let's get to some of the bookmarks. I'll show you this anyway. This is from Susan Hall.
Has done a very good story on the grooming gangs in London. Of course, we all knew that they were here, except it would appear Sadiq Khan, who many of you will know, I asked over a year ago if we had.
She was in the town hall meeting in January of 2025, and she said, is there grooming gangs in London? And the Mayor of London said, can you explain what that is, please? And he denied the existence of it. But later, as I say, I've got a video that proves it. And he did know, and there's evidence to prove that he did know.
Grooming gangs in London. And of course his response was he didn't know what I was talking about. What did I mean? We all knew what I meant, didn't we? What is it with these Labour politicians? If you look at...
I think you've got to be honest, my love, it's not to do with Labour politicians, it's to do with particular people and particular ideology that will not budge on it. And you'll see that later. He actually tries to play the card of, Are you saying it because I'm brown? Are you saying it because I'm a Muslim? Are you? No, it's because girls are being abused.
Us for being far right when we ask questions about grooming gangs.
Yeah.
As for Lucy Powell, what is it that Labour have got that they don't want these grooming gangs exposed? What is it?
I can tell you, love. It's the fact that you've got a lot of people living in London, Bradford, Birmingham, and these sorts of places, and they're a big part of the communities that would be votes, and that's what it comes down to. And if that's what their priorities are and not the British people, then surely they shouldn't be in power.
I can only concentrate in London because that's where my job is. And I'm telling you now, they're dreadful.
Yeah.
And I sincerely hope that at last we can start getting a grip on this, because the people that have ignored it in the past need to hang their heads in shame.
She actually looks like she's been crying. Like, and that looks quite sad, to be honest. She looks like she's been crying, and you don't really do that as a human being if you haven't got a heart, you know. I was kind of gutted that she didn't win the election against Khan, but at the end of the day, she didn't have that social media presence, but she's doing it now. I mean, she doesn't know me, but I remember putting a message out to her at the time saying, you've got to be on social media and you have to hit people like these videos that went viral. You need to, you know what I mean? You need to bang it into people's heads, because otherwise people don't take notice. Right, let's look at a bit more anyway. This again regards to the grooming gangs.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are...
That's Sadiq Khan at his very best, basically, avoidance and everything else. But here we go, sorry, we'll carry on.
There's one kid's home here.
3 days. Yep. It took you 3 days to find 52 children being pimped out on the streets of London.
Yep, there's one here, right? I rang up the manager of the kids' home, name was Andre.
Right.
And I said, how many children you got, Andre? He said 5. I said, how many of them do you lose to criminality? And I explained I'm interested in the prostitution, and he boldly told me we lose 5 out of 6 every week, and it's here in my original notes. I then decided to hold a meeting. So this is circa 2008, and here is the top of it. It's got report the children at risk of criminal exploitation subject to care orders residing within the borough of Haringey. After 3 days.
See that it's gross negligence from both parties, being the Conservatives and I'll save the stuff with him anyway, because as I say, we've got a video coming up later about 4:30. So I'll just kind of jump forward to some of the other bits that we've got saved, because there is absolutely bucket loads to get through. I like this. I had to save this. The Supreme Leader of the People's Republic of Britain, Keir Wrongen. I love that. I love that, because that's exactly what he is. He is a wrong'un. Right, let's just jump forward a little bit, because there's just absolutely bucket loads. Let's get through to this one. This one, no, I'll save that. I'll save that, because that's quite a... This one's a good one. So check this out. Jay Leno, who I know done the show in America, was it Saturday Night Live or one of them? He says Weinstein would demand last-minute guest changes, even insisting certain celebrities would be added that same night. And obviously, if he didn't do as he was told, he'd get in trouble. And this is, again, the power of these people.
He called me one day, he goes, I want Brad Pitt on the show tonight. I go, I can't put Brad Pitt on the show tonight. And you know who I had on? I had on right-wing politician, ran for president, a young guy, I can't remember his name. But we don't bump people. When people are on their way here, I don't want to be one of those guys that cancel them, even though it's Brad Pitt. Yep. You know. But I said, no, it's just Harvey. And he screamed at me, and he'll never work again. You know, just all those kind of things. So when he got nailed, I was actually, oh, good. He's an awful person. I mean, there's not a lot of...
See, and there's a lot of them that speak out against all of this stuff now. I just wish they would have done it sooner. Let's see what else we've got. I haven't actually seen this interview with young Bob.
We need to be very clear about this, because...
A young patriot man in the United Kingdom on the right-hand side, and he went on to Talk TV, and apparently it went completely off the rails.
Can you not see where I'm coming from, Bob? That we need to be very clear about this, because otherwise we're on a slippery...
I don't see why a right-winger has a problem with this.
We're on a slippery slope to something quite frightening. Because,
which is?
Which is, like I said, going door to door and saying to people...
Who suggested that?
That's what I'm asking you, because I don't think anybody, not
Hi,
well, no, but not Charlie Downs nor you,
okay,
are
so
able to answer
no
me
one has suggested.
how you
No one
execute.
suggested this hypothesis that you've posited.
So how do you?
So of course it's not the politics.
Right, I'll tell you what, that looks like a really spicy one. Let's find that full interview, because I know that's been going viral over the last 24 hours, and it's something I should really have covered on the channel. So let me just quickly find that and we'll get into it. But, you know, the breaking news of the day is that former Prince Andrew has been arrested, but it's not being linked to... What's it not being linked to? It's not being linked to the Epstein stuff. It's being linked to stuff that he'd done whilst in office in regards to information, which I find rather suspect. But I think we all do, really. Young Bob talk. Oh, sorry, I'm not typing it in. Silly sods. Right, Young Bob Talk TV. Let's have a see. Have we got it on here? Right, it's 18 minutes, but I want to look at it because this has been going like bonkers over the last 48 hours.
Joined in the studio by the brilliant young Bob, youth activist. I love the fact it's a bit like a Brazilian
and he's young.
footballer.
He really is.
Just like the name Bob, young Bob.
Yeah, like whenever I embarrass people, whenever I talk to them, just my points holding water and being called young Bob is quite damning for them. So I like that there's a comedic aspect that I can't take myself too seriously.
I love it as well, and I think you're very tenacious and very brave to be coming and doing all these things at such a tender age. You're still 17.
So, and you've got to remember, for those that are in the United States, both of these people are right-leaning, so they should get along. That's all I'm going to say. They should get along because they've got roughly the same sort of outline and beliefs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, able to vote then in the next election.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing, though.
Species.
Well, actually, depending when the next election is, you may well be 18 by then. Right, now, if you were going to vote in that election, who would you be voting for? Because my understanding is it's potentially at the moment Restore Britain. I get confused with there's Reclaim, Reform, Restore.
Yeah, it'd be Restore.
It'd be Restore. Okay, tell me, what has attracted you to Restore out of all of the sort of options there on the right wing of politics, assuming you're fishing only in those waters, as opposed to going for any of the other outfits?
Well, whenever looking at a political party, it's its credibility, so its integrity, and it's also ability to run in general elections. Now, for being a small party built from a pressure movement, Restore Britain meets those two facets, so that's why I'm supporting them.
I mean, as yet, they haven't registered as a party. They haven't got a branch structure, an exec. Maybe they do.
You lot are on one today, aren't you?
An executive, I don't know. I don't believe they do. A written constitution. All of the other sort of cogs in the machinery that make a fully functioning political party. Do you think they're going to be able to upgrade and expand enough in time to run it?
There's a good point there from chat. Husky says the left in this country have gone so far left that centrists are now considered right, or we're all called far right.
In a general, and potentially even win and form a government.
I mean, if you look at the traction...
You don't think I'm right wing, really? I suppose you're right, yeah, because politics has changed so much. You're right. The left has gone so far left. You're right. Just by saying in this country, you're right. If you say something in this country like, I want this country to be British, or the Americans say, I want it to be, you know, like the great, make America great again, that should be for every American. Yeah, you're right. But it is considered this blasphemy now, isn't it?
And momentum and infrastructure necessary in the time that Reform had in building that to serve as a machine to run in a general election. I believe that Restore can replicate that, and you're already seeing it with it now just being announced that there's a further 7 defections from Kent Council to Restore Britain. So,
but do you think it's necessary for them to have things like branches around the country and regional organisers, and to be able to come up with a full slate of candidates, vet all those candidates? It's a big operation running a nationwide political party. And arguably, I see what you mean. Reform have sort of, in theory, turned the corner quite quickly, but they did have a sort of nascent heritage, if you will, in the Brexit Party, in UKIP. Nigel Farage has been around running political parties for 30 years.
Well, I would say that that's the first thing that Rupert addressed in his very viral video, that he would be...
Such as the Greens, who I think have fairly strident policies.
Well, splitting the vote just assumes that there's another party to split the vote with. I believe that Reform is actually part of the establishment, and we actually need a principled right-wing party to lend our support to.
Well, but I mean, Reform are. It would split the vote with Reform, one imagines, because Reform is there doing very well. And one would imagine if people are going to end up voting for Restore, the likely provenance of that vote is going to be from Reform UK.
Well, you could have said the same thing about Reform in the last general election with the Conservatives. In fact, it wasn't Labour that won, but rather the Tories that lost because they split the vote between Reform and the Tories. So I'll just give the argument that the right wing is a principled movement that wants to see the protection of our women and children, and we do that through voting principally, not based on compromise. I mean, even if you look at what Labour's doing, they're essentially on track to perform what Reform are promising in government. They've drastically decreased illegal forms of migration, so we actually need to...
Why do you agree with her, Mega Patriot? Because it's not going to split the vote, and Reform are not a good party. And I'll explain why in a minute, because you're probably coming from the same angle of which I've been following Reform. And as I say, the video I'm putting out later tonight, is it the one that's coming out? No, it's the video I put out late last night. I put out a video late last night, and Nigel Farage lied about this man here, Rupert Lowe. He lied and tried to get him arrested, you know, and he's not been charged for it. So I cannot, in good conscience, vote for a party like Reform. I can't. I genuinely can't.
To look at what is the fundamental issue with this country, and I believe it's the restoration of Britain.
OK, what does the restoration for you involve?
Well, restoration looks like reversing the demographic replacement of our people. Of course, if you look at places like Whitechapel, they totally have an in-group preference. I mean, you had two councillors trying to stand in a Bangladeshi election. So I certainly feel like looking towards more legal forms of migration to then restore and take back some of these areas that have been completely mismanaged by immigration.
How do you reverse it? I can understand you can turn off the tap now. You can turn around and say...
You can reverse stuff like this in the United Kingdom the same way that you can do it in the United States. No, Mega Patriot. I'll explain it in a little while. So let's look at it like this then. Let's look at it like this. This is why I can't vote for Reform, and I'll explain it to you because I don't think everyone saw my video last night. So Rupert Lowe was part of Reform. Yeah, Rupert Lowe is the gentleman that he's talking about here, who's got a new party called Restore Britain. And he was removed from the party because he allegedly was assaulting people, getting violent, getting physical. His house was raided by the police. His family was there. He's on a farm. And me personally, last year, when that happened, there was something inside of me that was saying, something feels a little bit off here. This man's about 70 years old. I can't really see... King's Coops is saying, do you still think your vote matters? I don't know. Well, what'd you come in here to have a chat for then? Like... What was the point of even having a discussion? Anyway, his house was raided, and Nigel Farage made the statement that Rupert Lowe had abused and got physical towards one of their members, which is Zia Youssef. So initially, most people would have been like, that seems a bit, off, that seems a bit bad, you can't do that, there was an investigation. Rupert Lowe was removed from the party. Then, yesterday... the day before yesterday, which was Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday? Reform unveiled their full cabinet, which was Suella Braverman, Robert Jenrick, Tice, Lee Anderson, Farage, and Layla Cunningham. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. Right, this is our party. Nigel Farage was asked when he was on stage. He said, someone in the audience from the press said, Rupert Lowe has started a party. The person that was removed from your party, he started a party. What do you think about that? And he said, well, we need to get rid of him because he wants to, at the time, he wanted to remove people from the United Kingdom that are not just illegal migrants, but those that do not fit in, blah, blah, blah. And he made the insinuation that it's going to be purely white Christian people that would stay. And if you don't fit in, get out. That was never said by Rupert Lowe on stage in his conference, and it wasn't the statement as to why he was removed. The article as to why Rupert Lowe was removed is because he was apparently abusive. What does that have to do with removing people from the country? So Nigel Farage lied about someone, got him removed from the party, and then the police went round there to arrest him. He would be in jail right now if the truth didn't come out. So how can you trust someone? And again, at the end of the day, all MPs lie. I know that. None of us are just stupid. None of them are lying. But if you're trying to trust someone who's the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, and he's going, right, I'm here for you guys, illegal migration and blah, blah, blah. If that was the case, If that was the case, why are you going mad at someone who wants to remove illegal migrants? Then Farage has come out and said, no, we can't get rid of anyone who's illegal. It's just too much of a big job. So he's already backtracking on what he promised in the first place. It's just that not everyone has seen the interview of him saying it. He can't be trusted. He cannot be trusted.
No more mass migration or no migration from these particular countries. You could take all sorts of approaches to press the pause button. It's a very different thing trying to then make second, third, even first generation.
It's got everything to do with the split vote, because once people... This has only happened in the last... Look at it like this, Mega Patriot, yeah? People only into politics like us that follow it a lot only really know who Rupert Lowe is, who Ben Habib is. It's like in the United States, you don't know who Nancy Mace is, you don't know who the Attorney General is, unless you're really following politics. Now, Rupert Lowe started a party on Saturday. He's got 100,000 people that have signed up to that party in under a week. That's more than the Liberal Democrats in this country. And the party is a week old. It's 1 week old. Now, the more people that find out that Farage is lying, people are just going to go, F that guy. And they're not going to trust him, because people are not... And I understand what you're saying about a split vote. I don't think people are going to... They're going to understand and see this is just the same as what we've already had. It's people leaving the Conservative Party, joining Reform, and it's the same thing. And I was hoping that those people were joining out of the goodness of their hearts, because I've got that thing in me, you know, I'm a bit of an idiot like that. I'm like, right, maybe these people from the Conservatives are good people. Maybe they were held back. Layla Cunningham went on national TV and said they're like neo-Nazis. Who does that? Who does that? We're supposed to be in the same area, like the same team. We're supposed to be roughly in the same ideology of what we think. And you're now doing the same thing that the left do. That's what Labour do. If you speak out, you're far right and you're racist. If people in Reform are starting to talk like that, they're not my people. They're not for me. No way. Because I don't do that to people.
Leave again.
Well, it doesn't matter about whether it's practical or not. Millions must
What's
go.
an AOC?
I mean, if you look at the current state of the country, it cannot continue. Even the Prime Minister admitted it. We've become an island of strangers.
It does matter, though, how that policy is envisioned and how it's then executed. If millions must go, by what way would you think would be a good way of essentially
I think it's such a hypocrisy, because if you look at what Prosper UK says, it says that the popularism of Reform isn't practical, so we shouldn't vote for them. So how it's the people that want like this conservative, moderate right-wing position, and they're totally against popularism. So I would say that the Conservative Party gives the same argument for Reform, and they still want to compromise and lend towards the left-wing support of the party, therefore not truly being a right-wing alternative for the patriots of Britain.
I think it's a fair question to ask.
Well, you have self-deportation methods. So you have like banning halal meat, banning the burqa, which, by the way, when Zia Yusuf heard that they were potentially going to ban the burqa, he stepped down as chairman, then assumed the position of head of policy, because he understood that then he could direct the party away from being against banning the burqa, which is absolutely hypocrisy.
We don't know that is his intent.
Yeah, but it is the intent, and I think we need to stop beating around the bush with this kind of stuff. It's not racist and homophobic and flipping transphobic or Islamophobic to come out and say all of this stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's got to a stage in the Western society where just having open discussions about something is offensive, and it's absolute nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. You should be allowed to say what you like, however you like. I mean, I get people on here all the time that say, no, I don't agree with that. I think you're wrong. And I go, well, why? What have I said that's wrong? Educate me. And I'm open to that. But I do not buy into this notion of supporting a party that's just going to be the same as what we've already had.
We don't know the conversations have happened behind the scenes, and certainly I would suggest to you, Sarah Pochen asked it as her maiden question in the House of Parliament, that would have been done with the complicity of Nigel Farage. I mean, I'd find it astonishing if you didn't know she was going to ask that. So I don't know where the party...
What's the first question you can ask to the Prime Minister?
I don't know. I'm just. I would imagine that conversation with the party leader would have happened because it's
so your
a maiden
assumption
speech.
Is more likely than mine?
Yes.
So why is that then?
because I know the characters probably a lot better than you do, and so I.
So that's so she's patronising him because of his age. That's not the way to deal with politics. He's more intelligent than her.
Well, it's just like inference, right? Like, why stand down after being against, Islamic sectarianism?
Let's go back to the question.
Being a Muslim yourself, and then saying that you can be the head of policy because you can decide the direction of the party. Considering he's the same man as well, mind you, that decided that he would make false allegations to Rupert Lowe that he's received death threats, which then caused the police to waste resources in raiding his home. I mean, Zia Yusuf is a complete scumbag. He doesn't deserve to be in a show.
No, he doesn't. So this is what I'm trying to say. This isn't public knowledge enough. That's what I'm trying to say. Zia Yusuf, I was fully behind. I'm like, yeah, I like this guy, Asian guy. I'm not bothered by him at all. I'm like, I like the way he speaks. He's very professional. But he's lied and tried to get someone arrested and put in jail for assault that didn't happen. There should be no discussion around whether you should vote for that party again. You've got someone in there who's admitted that they tried to have someone put in jail.
Zia Yusuf isn't here for me to put that to him. That's
you're right, Freckles.
I can't really take that anymore, and I can't answer on his behalf for those things. But let's go back to the fundamental question, which is, if what attracts you to Restore Britain is the promise that millions of people
we'll catch up soon, mate.
Should be leaving Britain, and my question is who and how?
But based on their ability to integrate. So we can begin in the names of Farage, of the reason he actually decided to kick out Rupert. We can start deporting tribes of people. So, of course, famously, we all agree, people who come here illegally, foreign criminals, and those who don't socially integrate.
How do you... OK, those who don't socially integrate, who are those people?
Who are those people? So the way you get rid of people in any nation that is refusing to integrate is you stop them from... Simple. If you want me honestly, if you want honesty, I know this is going to pee some of you off, but if you want me to speak from the heart and not beat around the bush, how do you save Britain right now? Honestly, you want the truth? You ban halal. You ban public call to prayer. You know the call to prayer in mosques, and they play it in the streets in Birmingham. You ban that, you make that illegal. You ban Sharia courts. They should be illegal in this country. There's no way. So ban halal, ban burqa, and ban those things. If someone truly wants to stay in this country, they will abide by the rules of this country. It doesn't mean you can't wear a burqa in your home. It means in public, because you could say, well, that's offensive. Okay, if you're a Muslim, and I'm going to look at it from a Muslim's point of view. I'm not some monster. I'm going to look at it as from a Muslim's point of view. I do try and at least do that, yeah? If a Muslim can walk into a bank, and I'm not taking the piss like that, with your eyes covered down to your eyes, and you can just see your eyes, and you can walk into a bank like that, and just walk in, and 10 of you can walk around like that, have a little walk around, get your money, and leave the bank. Right, okay. If I've got a crash helmet on from my motorbike, and I walk in with a bike, the security guard will step in front of me and say, remove your helmet, sir, you can't go in like that. Hang on a minute, you've just let her in. Yeah, but she's Muslim. I don't give a shit if she's Muslim. How comes she can cover her face and I can't? You don't know who she is. You do not know who she is. That's what it's about. It's about being anonymous. They're not doing it because they're doing it because of their faith. The government is stopping it about people being anonymous. Well, why have I got to show myself and they don't? Why do they get special treatment? This is my home. That's not racist. I'm saying this is my home. If they can do that, I can do that. If I can't do that, they can't do that. That's called equality. That's just one thing. There shouldn't be any Sharia courts in the United Kingdom. They should be banned. And you think to yourself, well, why? If it doesn't interfere with the actual legal process of the United Kingdom, which it doesn't, it's their own individual system, but it doesn't affect our laws. Here's one for you. Let's just say a Muslim man marries a Muslim woman. They're married. They're happily married. Years go by and she's not happy. He cheats on her. He might not cheat on her, but there's difficulties within the marriage, and for whatever reason, she wants to leave him. She can get a divorce in the United Kingdom, the legal document, divorced, gone. But within the Muslim community, he still owns her because they've done it through the Sharia court system. So our system doesn't matter to them. she still has to abide by that rule through the Sharia courts. He still owns her. Do you believe in that? Because I don't. What does that have to do with England? What right does someone have to do that to a woman? They don't have the right. That's my opinion in this country, and I've got every right to feel that way. If you want to, why don't you say the same for Jewish courts in the UK? I do. That's kind of screwed you, isn't it? There should only be one. There should be one. There's one system. The British system, the English system. You follow that or you don't stay here. It's not difficult. It is not difficult. Do you know what I mean? I can't go to Saudi Arabia and go, right, we're going to start up our own court systems, the Christian court systems. All you Arabs sit to the side. I wouldn't even get my hand back. Do you know what I mean? So why are we even having that argument? You just yap on about Muslims because they're the ones causing the problems in this country, my friend. Are we going to pretend that that's not the case? I'll tell you what, fella. If you're so honest and if you're so brave to say all of this stuff here, put your real name there, come live on here on camera, and I want you to condemn the people that have married children in this country in mosques. Because Channel 4 Dispatches covered it. If you're a Muslim man, I want you to come on here and say, that shouldn't happen, I'm disgusted, and put your real face. You can't. Because we know what will happen to you. You see what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to live like that. I don't want you to live like that. You, my friend, should be free to say what you like and not have to hide yourself.
Well, how do you decide who crosses whatever threshold you've got for integration? How do you discern who they are, and by what legal mechanism are you then sending them out of the country?
Okay, so social integration is this understanding that two ideas can overlap with one another. And clearly, if you look at, for example, Islamic extremism, those ideas don't integrate with one another, right? Because they're diametrically
opposed. If we're saying if you're saying that fundamentally you would like to see Islamic extremists deported,
yes,
how is that going to be executed? Because I agree with you, I don't particularly want.
Because it's not very difficult, my love. It's not very difficult, is it? You go into every single mosque in the entire country. That's it. You go into every single mosque in the entire country and you sit in and you listen. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Islamists in the United Kingdom. I don't want any form of religious extremism in the United Kingdom, whether they're pro-Khalistanis, whether they're extremist Buddhists even, you know. But how do you, when things are said like this...
See? Never going to happen, pal. Why is that? Because you think you've got the right to tell us how you should live in our country. That is my point. That is my point. You've proved my point.
What I want to know is how this is assessed. How is it monitored? How do you discern who those people are?
It's deportation methods. So you ban halal meat, you ban the burqa publicly, and those practices which have of course, contrary to the national interest, if you are caught committing those acts, you can go home.
I think a lot of people are going to get a very, very big wake-up call soon, and this isn't me getting aggravated or nasty or mean. I think a lot of you don't realise yet the change that's starting in this country. I don't think a lot of you realise the change that's coming. Think of it 6 months ago. Look back 6 months ago. I wouldn't dare come on there and say what I've just said because I would get banned on YouTube for having an opinion, just for having a conversation. Like user, whoever you are, right? I'm assuming that you're Muslim because of the discussion that we're having. I don't have a problem with you. I don't hate you. We've just got a difference of opinion on things. That's how people are supposed to communicate. That's how the world gets better. If we don't agree on something, we have to find a compromise. But this is England. English rules. That is it. And that's how it has to be. I cannot physically go to another nation and tell them how I want it to be. I'm not asking you to go anywhere. But if halal meat is banned, what are you going to do? If burqas are banned, what are you going to do? If you're going to, this is what I'm trying to say. If all of those things happen, let's just play out the scenario for a second, right? Genuinely. Let's just say, for example, the burqa gets banned. I don't think it will, right? I don't think I don't think they've got the guts. That's what I think. But I like to play out the scenario. If the burqa is banned and halal meat is banned and Sharia courts are banned, let's just say it happens, right? If you decide to stay that means you're willing to adapt to remain in this country. I haven't got a problem with you. You can stay as long as you want. You can have as many kids as you want. You're more than welcome. I don't think you... And this is the problem with Muslims. You're clearly a Muslim. This is the problem with the Muslims. I think... I know you understand. I don't think you're stupid. You understand what I'm saying. I said to you 5 minutes ago, ban Sharia courts, and you said, well, ban Jewish stuff. I said, okay. Now you're going, well, ban kosher meat then. Okay. What are you going to fall back on now? You've got nothing else to fall back on. Okay, ban that as well then. It's England. What is your point? What is your point? You're not making a point. You think you're making a point. You're not making a point. Yes, ban that as well. This is England. England. English. England. And there is nothing wrong with saying that. And if you say something about that and you feel that there's a problem with the English saying that that's out of order or it's racist or anything, you are a hypocrite. 100% a hypocrite. Because what right have you and thousands of others got to go out and say free, free Palestine, right? Why are you doing that if you're trying to say we can't do that in our own country? That doesn't make sense, does it? You're a hypocrite. What are you doing about it then? The same as everyone else, talking about it. More and more people are thinking about it. More and more people are speaking about it. You're the one getting triggered, not me, Buttercup. Not me. Because I can see the change that's happening in this country.
You have no actual interests in being in London to begin with.
I know, Carl.
Anglo-Saxon England.
So if
your response is okay because Jewish courts and kosher meat doesn't bother you. I don't think you're understanding English, my friend. Did I not just say ban that as well? It's like you're making up conversations in your head. Ban that as well. Now what have you got? Why do I have to talk it? I've just said it to you. Why do I have to talk it? I've just said to you. English. English. Fucking hell.
If we put in place, as a nation, the banning of...
Because, why am I talking about Muslims? Because I don't see the amount of problems that are caused in this country by Jewish people. That's why. I don't see Jewish people going around blowing up trains. I don't see them blowing up buses. I don't see them grooming gangs raping little girls in this country. Why would I make a thing about that? If I walk through Whitechapel, I'll get problems because I'm white. If I walk through a Jewish community, I'm not going to get problems. So why would I attack the Jewish community if they're not going to hassle me and give me shit in my own country? It's like kind of logical, my guy.
Non-stun slaughter, again, something I wholly agree with, and banning of the burqa, again, something I wholly agree with. Do you think that is going to see the exodus of non-integrated peoples to the levels that would satisfy you?
I mean, the reason why the Muslims are going en masse to the Green Party is because they're even afraid that if reform get in, they'll leave. So certainly a restored government will ensure that.
So in terms of, if what you would end up with by putting these policies in place is the sort of most committed of the Islamists saying, look,
see, but when you start doing the insults, this is you've lost me now, little guy, user. When you've got that, you've lost it. I just said I would ban them. Are you deaf? Have you got a hearing aid? You've got problems with your ears. I've just said, if you don't move into the rules of English law the way we do it, one law system, English meat and English farms. Do you understand? Do you want me to speak slower?
We can't live here as we want to, therefore we're going to go to the 53 Islamic republics that exist in the world instead, or some other place that doesn't have those policies. We're seeing these policies, by the way, at the moment being explored in Scandinavia, in Sweden, in Denmark. I have no doubt that it will cross the UK political agenda as well.
Can I ask just a quick question? Are you against the banning of halal and kosher meat?
No, I just said I'd be for the banning of
both halal and kosher.
Yes.
Of both kosher and halal.
Well, yes, because I don't believe animals should suffer. Interesting.
Are you against the ban of the burqa?
Yes.
Okay, so then we both agree that those are two things that would get rid.
It's the same as anything. Like, user, you're getting angry. Like, you're acting as if I'm saying something out of order in my own country, and that's utter bollocks. I'm sorry, it's utter bollocks. I can't even comprehend. I can't even comprehend me going to another nation that's Hindu or Sikh and telling them they've got to change because of me. I wouldn't have the guts to say that and act entitled the way you do. Like like I owe you. It's crazy.
Of people.
Well, we both agree. We both agree that I don't think they fit in with UK society. What I want to know is whether you think that is going to be enough to.
Well, it's certainly a start.
It's a start.
It would.
But
it would change everyone.
Like if it isn't enough.
See, you're telling me what we should. See, you're doing it again. You're going back to your beliefs and what you feel and what your faith is. I don't care. I'm sorry, mate. I don't care. You could believe in the flying banana man. If that's what you want to believe, go and believe it in flying banana land. This is England. We don't do that here. So I don't know what makes you feel you've got the right to tell me how we should be in our own country. What gives you the right to tell me that? Nothing. Nothing. If you sit here and tell me that your nan and granddad and your elders died in World War I and were put in swamps and their legs were eaten off, great. Great. Okay, whatever you say. I promise you this, mate, you won't do a thing and Muslim numbers will grow. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. It's already changing. That's why I'm not bothered by people like you. Because it is changing. Look at what's happening. It is changing. It doesn't matter what you feel.
A sort of mass exodus to the levels that you might hope, then what? Or is that just it? You draw a line under that point and then you say, OK, we tried our best, that's that.
Well, there's certainly other forms of self-deportation methods. So you can focus on more like nativism as well. So you restrict who you give benefits to. If you come here, you shouldn't expect to receive benefits.
Reform has announced that they wouldn't give benefits to foreign nationals.
So you're asking me what is other forms of self-deportation methods? Those are one of them.
OK, because what I'm trying to establish, and look, restore...
Yeah, but you won't... I don't think you're... I don't know what it is. I don't want to say that you're stupid or you're unintelligent, but I think you kind of are, right? Because if laws change in this country, the Muslim population won't continue to grow, would it? It would be like, say, for example, I emigrated. Let's look at it from another way around. Let's look at it from a different perspective, yeah? So you might understand, because I don't think it's sinking in. Let's just say I emigrated to Cyprus. I love Cyprus. I love the Greek people. I love them. I've been there many times. Let's say I emigrated and I had a work visa and I ended up staying in Cyprus and they welcomed me with open arms, right? But then let's just say they banned... I don't know, they wouldn't do it, but let's just say they banned meat, yeah? Well, I like meat. If they banned meat, I can't do anything about it. I've either got to stay there and adapt to be vegetarian, or I'm going to have to leave. They're not forcing me to leave, but I would have to leave. That's how it would work. It's as simple as that. Yes, it's like you're not listening. It just goes in one ear and out the other with these lot, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just they don't get it. They just don't get it.
Haven't
you
really
will see the change
put
soon.
Forward full policy tracks yet. It's been
they have
more
a full
sort of
migration policy document that's pages and pages long.
But what we need to know is the more granular detail of how things are going to be executed, because, like I said, as somebody who has worked in developing world countries and third world countries, quite frankly, where there's post-election violence, when there is a marriage of, I just think identity politics is pretty horrific anywhere, wherever it emerges. I'm personally not a fan.
I never said Islam could. I didn't say Islam has to leave. I never said that. See, this is what I'm trying to say. You're making up shit in your own head now. I know you've got to laugh at it, Montgomery. He's a classic keyboard warrior. The future is not bright for them. I know. It's not about whether Islam is here to stay or leave. I don't think you've listened to a word I've said. It's not sunk into your brain yet. It will do, though. It will do. It's just bizarre. I think people, like, you can have a conversation with certain people, but they just don't. You don't listen. I agree to an extent, Carl, but I don't believe everyone within Islam is evil. I don't. It's the same with any faith. You're going to have people that are good and you're going to have people that are bad. And if someone is, this is what I'm trying to say to you, I don't have a problem if someone's going to willing to stay in this country and adapt to a British way of life, our way of life. Anyone is welcome. If they're going to be the way we want and not cause problems and not cause trouble, what's the problem? There is no problem. The problems have only become prevalent since specific ideologies have tried to influence the way that this country is run, the way that we're supposed to do it. Like this guy, telling us what we should be doing in our own country. Fuck off. I don't have any respect for people like that. And I don't have to have respect for people like that, do I? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't have to have respect for people like that. You're saying it's more modern, so in other words, we can start saying free England then, and we can start throwing you the fuck out, the same way that you're chanting for Palestine then. Because if you're allowed to do it, I'm sure we're allowed to do it, because this is our home. So if that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it's got to be. I don't want that. But if that's what you're going to try and encourage, well, it's not going to look good for you, because there's 65 million of us and there's 4 million of you. I wish you luck.
Because I think it's ominous. I think it's divisive. I think the difficulty is it just becomes...
Oh, what you mean? The guy from... You don't use him. Oh, dear. Are you really using him? Hamza Yusuf, white. People, white, offended by everything, white. That guy's an absolute joke. People take the piss out of him. People laugh at him.
It's very difficult. If someone's saying, you know, this person hasn't integrated, or they hate the culture, or they are saying things about Britain that are unconscionable and awful, and therefore they shouldn't be here, does that mean that would certain people out there who might back Restore be pro a policy almost a bit like Starmer's post-Southport riots playbook? You put something offensive on Twitter, you're being arrested.
Oh, if you know Hamza personally, let him know from me. He's a fucking idiot. Please.
I mean, there's a complete difference between enacting practices which go against the national interests and posting a tweet on social media.
No, I agree with you, Clips.
There's a complete difference between nearly bankrupting Tower Hamlets Council because you're focusing on Bangladesh more than you are England, compared to making a tweet when you're...
I wouldn't say being racist, a Muslim racist man, and anti-white is something that's making yourself something. I just don't... Being an arsehole and being famous for being an arsehole doesn't make you a success.
Okay, so this isn't about, because Rupert Lowe has said, if you don't like our values, you'll be gone. And I want to know how that is discerned, how that is executed, how that is judged, who decides what these values are. Are we going door to door in a Spanish Inquisition asking people if they know every word to the law?
No, he's just explained to you how it's done. You would ban halal, you'd ban kosher, you would ban all of the things, and people will either follow those rules or they don't. It's not difficult. It's like I said to you, you can go to a country. If I went to Saudi, as I say, I think, is it Saudi that it's illegal to have alcohol outside? So if I went to Saudi Arabia, I'd have to drink inside of a hotel. That's fair enough. That's their rules. I'm not going to disrespect their rules, am I? I'm not going to disrespect their rules. It's not going to happen. But the Muslims, like this guy, yeah, look at him. That's what I'm saying. They don't understand what's coming. That's what I'm trying to say to you. They don't understand what's coming. They just think English white people are going to just like lay down and let these little barbaric cousin fuckers take over. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All of this does is this guy. All it does is encourage more and more people in England to despise the rest of his community. And I don't want to hate. I don't want to despise these people, because not everyone is like that. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone is like that. But it's that when people say, why do people hate Islam? That's a prime example. That's a prime example. We're going to colonize you. We're going to do this. You're going to obey us. You're going to... Fuck off. No more am I going to listen to that. I'm not having that no more. It's not acceptable. Because we can't do that in someone else's country. We need to stand up. All of us now need to stand up and say, no, fuck off. It's not happening. It's not racist. It's just saying you cannot do that to us in our own country.
Lord's Prayer and can sing Rule Britannia. You know, when these things are being talked about in the round, because we live in such a febrile environment, I just need to know, and it's my job to elucidate on behalf of people who are going to make electoral decisions, what that's going to actually entail.
I mean, hopefully we can all agree that this is the first barrier of entry, that we must respect the culture of our land. I mean, if you don't operate in that way, what you end up being is what Priya Starmer actually mentioned, being an island of strangers, having cohorts of people that can't communicate with the rest of the areas of our country.
Clips. You cannot walk down the street in Dubai with an open container of beer or consume alcohol in public places. Public drinking is strictly illegal and leads to fines, arrests or imprisonment. So what you're saying is really is not true, is it? It's not propaganda. That's, you cannot walk down the street and you cannot drink in public, and that's their rules. So if I want to go there, I've got to adopt to those rules. I don't like it, but if I go there, that's what I've got to do. That's their rules. I've got to respect that. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go to Dubai, but you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So we need to do the same in this country. So any Muslim or anyone who disagrees with it, I don't really care.
In terms of what they are actually composed of, well, we can actually start speaking about that when we're in government, but it comes towards the culture of our land.
Those things would have to be spoken about before going into government. That's the point. You know, when people are trying to make a choice, if Restore Britain are going to be in ship-shape form to stand candidates in May, coming, then people will need to know those arguments now. You can't.
Well, that's what
wait to say we're going to be in
integration is. Literally just this idea that two ideas can overlap to one another. So if they're geometrically opposed, you can go home.
I totally understand the ideas, and I totally am sympathetic.
Okay, so you understand what the ideas of the British people are. You understand that people come into this country with foreign ideas that may geometrically oppose, so you can't come in.
Okay, but that's very different to talking about deportations. Deportations.
But you would just send these people home. We'll get a British ICE in.
Send people home how?
We'll send a British ICE in.
She's not,
like we are.
It's
in
kind of like what that guy says. It's just not sinking in. If you make a country uncomfortable for people and they don't like the laws of your land, they will gladly leave. It's like I just said to you guys. You too, man. Big love, Rachel. Big love. Yeah, it's like I just said to you. If I went to a country and I didn't like the way they did things, all of us are the same. If we went somewhere and you don't like the way they do things, you wouldn't stay there. You just, oh, this isn't for me. That's okay. I'll go somewhere else. It's that simple.
It's unless you're against that.
So illegal workers then?
Well, illegal workers, absolutely.
And anyone else?
Oh, yeah, people who don't integrate well into this culture.
Okay, so this is where, how do you assess those people?
Yeah, again,
how do you go,
according to the definition of the word.
How do you go up and down the streets
according
of Bradford?
To the definition of the word. If these ideas...
How do you know what their ideas are? These ideas are in their heads.
I really don't think you understand what the definition of this word is.
No,
again,
I understand.
If these people... Well,
Bob,
it seems like the right
She's not listening.
can very easily identify when these people don't uphold British values, but when a party actually comes up there and say they'll do it, you have an issue with it.
You're going to go up and down the streets of Bradford and go door to door and ask people what they think of Britain.
She's just not listening, is she? She's not listening. He's explained it to you very, very slowly. We would change this law, and this law, and people would deport themselves because they wouldn't feel comfortable here. It's really not that difficult. You know, it's like if you say we've got 4 million Muslims in this country, which we have. If you ban halal, cousin marriage, Sharia courts and the burqa, most of these people would leave. And that's not you grabbing them and being nasty. It's just they wouldn't, oh, well, I can't marry my cousin here and inbreed. Well, you would leave. I can't wear a burqa. That doesn't suit me. I would leave. I like halal meat. I can't eat nothing else. You would leave. Can't use Sharia courts. I would leave. So you don't have to be brutal. You don't have to be nasty. Change the laws. It's easy, isn't it? It's not difficult.
And if they don't give an answer, which according to whoever is Restore Britain is favourable,
you enact self-deportation methods. When they don't adhere to those, you have a British ICE to deport people.
Yep.
Can you not see where I'm coming from, Bob? That we need to be very clear about this, because otherwise
I don't see why a right winger has a problem with this.
We're on a slippery slope to something quite frightening. Which is, like I said, going door to door and saying to people,
who suggested that?
That's what I'm asking you, because I don't think anybody,
no one said that.
But not Charlie Downs nor you,
So no one suggested it. Where's it come from? It's come from your mind, the same as it's come from the mind of the gentleman who was arguing just now.
No one has suggested. No one suggested this hypothesis that you've posited. So of course it's not the policy of Restore.
Explain to me how you prosecute a policy where people who don't integrate are being deported. It's a great sentence.
Very simple.
How?
If you have ideas that geometrically oppose the ideas of the native British people, you then begin to ban those ideas. Then you...
No, it doesn't champion. Clipscrew says you can have laws that ban Muslim practices. It's not banning Muslim practices. I don't believe in inbreeding. Inbreeding is wrong, because that means you're forcing the British taxpayer to pay for children that are forcibly born disabled, and you're telling me that I have to pay for you to have inbred babies. That's not doing anything wrong. I don't think children should be born disabled forcibly. Like, why would I encourage that? And you're telling me I'm out of order for encouraging that? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Right, we'll be back again. What day is it today? Tomorrow. I'm not going to be here tomorrow because I'm going to a concert, and then I'm going to Chinatown on Friday to do a live stream for Chinese New Year. So I won't be here for that. No, I'll be live streaming on Saturday for that. Tomorrow I won't be here. I'll do a video. But right now, I'm going to send you straight to a video all about Sadiq Khan and exposing Sadiq Khan because he lied about the grooming gangs in London. And I think you all need to see the video that I've done about it. So this is about Prince Andrew, Keir Starmer and Sadiq Khan. It's going to send you straight to it right now. So join me. It's coming out right now.